Hey everyone, we've got a couple of new Player of the Week selections on eFootball. I'm going to be reviewing the regular worldwide selection in this video. We've also got a Champions League Player of the Week selection. I'll be doing a separate video to review that one. One thing to quickly note before we get into the rest of this video, face scan for Koundé, it looks like I just updated his hair. So if that's of interest to you, Koundé does have an update to his face scan. Another thing to note, shockingly, they've added something to the points store. So no strips, items are still the same, but they've added a player. So if you've got some points that are expiring this month, you have a whopping selection of one player to choose from, and it's Gabriel Martinelli. So if you like Gabriel Martinelli, you want a Martinelli card, great for you. If you don't want a Martinelli card, unlucky, because that's the only thing that you can use your points on. But yeah, I guess if you don't like Martinelli, you at least get some GP and a booster token. And the only other thing to mention before we get into the review of Player of the Week, a lot of people have been speculating on a coin sale for Black Friday. It's not come this week. I'm not surprised at all by that, because I don't think they would ever give us a coin sale while there's a pack like the Dutch pack that's currently available with Van Basten, Rijkaard and Hullet. They're never going to give us a discount on coins when that pack's available, so I expect they'll probably give us a coin sale next week for Black Friday, so we'll see what happens next week. But yeah, for this video, we're going to look at the regular Player of the Week worldwide selection. We have a general selection of 3 4-stars. So as always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, so click the description if you want to hear about a particular player. There'll be a link to take you straight to them. But let's get into it, and we'll start with Conrad Harder. So this is the first time we've had a feature version of Harder. He is a teenager from Sporting Lisbon. Doesn't have a face scan yet. I'm sure we'll get one at some point in time. He's usually a goal poacher and a centre forward, but they've added SS, fully proficient, and there's another one of these trending cards, whatever you call them, where they've given him a semi-proficient position. That's attacking midfield. So a semi-proficient position, and you can't position trade him. Great. But yeah, he's a whole player SS. What else have they changed with him? So compared to his GP card, if they're changing from a striker to an SS, you expect they're going to change a few things around. His dexterity attributes, acceleration, the balance, the attacking awareness have all been nerfed a little bit. Otherwise, he's had a nice boost across the board, really. He's better on the ball than his GP card with auto allocation. Passing's had a very big boost. Skill wise, he already had acrobatic finishing, but nothing else. So they've added heading, long range shooting, first time shot, outside curler, aerial superiority, super sub. Very nice. So as a super sub, he's got all the skills to be able to take chances with his feet and his head. But how good is he on the whole? He's not great. He's obviously a 4-star card. The pace is all right. He's a whole player SS. So 2 positions he can play. You look at him as a striker first off. Has he got the awareness to play as a centre forward? In my opinion, absolutely not. 80 is nowhere near high enough for a centre forward. But outside of that, though, on the ball for a striker, decent. Passing, decent enough. Finishing 85, you can work with that. Pace is all right for a centre forward. And he's got that aerial superiority. He's got all the skills to, you know, in the air and first time shot, accurate finishing, outside curler. So yeah, on the whole, if you don't mind the attacking awareness being really low, you could still use the guy as a centre forward. But like I say, that awareness is super important, and it's too low for me. But as an SS, attacking awareness is fine. On the ball, he's all right. Passing, for me, not good enough. He doesn't have any passing skills either. Finishing is good though for an SS, and the pace decent. To be honest, either of those positions, there's at least 1 or 2 attributes that just aren't really high enough. Yeah, some of them are kind of okay, but I don't want a card that's kind of okay. I want a card that's good, and just to be brutally honest, yes, it's a 4-star card, but that's irrelevant. We don't have any matchmaking filters. We don't get 4-star events. And although he's got a few decent attributes and a very nice improvement to the skills that he's got for a striker, ultimately, it's just not a great card, really. And next up, our goalie. So we got Murić from Ipswich. It is our first feature version of Murić. They got a really good win away to Tottenham. He's not got a face scan. I thought he might have done. Again, I imagine at some point he probably will get one. But yeah, normally an attacking goalkeeper. They've changed it to a defensive goalkeeper this time. And they've added high punt. So we now got low and high punt. We've got long throw, we've got penalty saver. So we've got a bunch of skills. And yeah, on the whole, he's kind of an all-right goalkeeper. He's not amazing. He's very tall. He's about 6'6" or something. He's a big, tall goalkeeper. Obviously, he's a Player of the Week goalkeeper, so they've nerfed his jumping, of course. Yeah, he's just kind of all-right. You know, he's not quite going to hit 90 with the maximum boost on the awareness or the reflexes, but he won't be too far off. Catching's not too bad. Parring's a bit dodgy. Reach is good, especially with that height. So he's got very good coverage. The awareness and reflexes are decent, but not amazing. So yeah, I think it's just another one of these cards where if you've got a good selection of keepers, you're probably not going to ever have much use for him. But maybe it's for the English League Challenge worth keeping hold of him, because as much as he's not an amazing goalkeeper card, he's certainly not going to let anyone down. He's a big guy with good coverage. He's decent. He's just not amazing. So if he needs to the game, could be a good goalkeeper option. Otherwise, maybe worth keeping hold of for the English League Challenge. It's a decent goalkeeper card, but it's just not an amazing one. And next we have Sheraldo Becker from Sociedad. So he played well for them against Barcelona in that 1-0 win where Barcelona had that ridiculous offside decision against Lewandowski. Another one without a face scan. Again, I imagine he'll probably get one at some point. But yeah, no face scan on this guy. And he's another 4-star as well. And again, like with Harder, they've changed him from a goal poacher. He's normally a goal poacher centre forward. They've changed him to a hole player. But whereas Harder's been made into an SS, they've given this guy a left midfield. So we've got a left midfield on Becker now. You can of course play as a centre forward or as a wide forward or an SS like he normally can. Previously we've had a trainable version of Becker. It was in, I think, maybe it's a Spanish league pack. Didn't have left midfield. Better as a centre forward. Even if you position trained him to play left midfield and retrained him, he's not as good as a left midfielder as this guy. But better as a striker though. Comparing Becker to his GB card, they made him better on the ball. His passing's been improved as well, and his physicals, but he's lost a bit of pace and balance compared to his GP card. And skill-wise, what have they done? They've added a few. They've given him pinpoint crossing, they've given him long-range curler, and they've given him track back. So he's got a decent section of skills there. He got flip flap and chop turn, and then we got long range curler. So if you play him on the left flank, he's right footed. So coming off the left flank with long range curler, that's a good skill to have. First time shot as well. Pinpoint crossing. I mean, 75 lofted pass, right footer on the left. Yeah, he's not going to be doing a lot of crossing. He's not going to have a great cross on him. Outside curl's a nice one. Track back, not for everyone. Super sub though, nice. He's already a super sub. So yeah, I guess the question with this guy is, where do you play him? You know, what position is he best in? Can you still play him as a centre forward? You can, but is he good there? Awareness 78, finishing 79, absolutely not. I wouldn't go anywhere near centre forward with this guy. There's an SS, whole player playing style, maybe. The awareness and finishing are pretty borderline for an SS, in my opinion. You could get away with it though. He's all right on the ball, not brilliant though. And the passing, he's not got any passing skills there. So yeah, I think SS is a bit of a stretch. It just depends how you use your SS. You can use an SS in a lot of different ways. You can have a wide SS on the left or the right, just behind the attack. But yeah, the strengths this guy does have. The dribbling is decent. Ball control's a little bit meh. Type section's a bit iffy, but he's got some decent pace there. He's physically strong. Balance isn't too great. It could be worse, I guess. Again, I think it's just a card where it's a question of where you're going to use him, where's he going to be good. Centre forward for me, no. SS, bit of a stretch. Wide right, there's a right foot and no, he can't cross. But off the left flank, I think he's best off the left flank with the fact that he's got long range curler and first time shot. His finishing will be going past 8 with the game plan boost. He's not terrible on the ball. He's not great. He's got decent pace. I think he's just one of these cards who, yeah, I mean, not sure what to make of him. Pace, yeah. Physical strength. The attacking awareness and finishing both going past 8 with the game plan boost. It's hard to say this is a bad card. I think he could be usable. Maybe he's one of these cards where for the Spanish League Challenge, it could be worth keeping hold of him for that. You have an option on the left wing there as an inverted winger. If you can allow the fact he's not brilliant on the ball, albeit the dribbling is decent, with the pace, awareness and finishing are okay. He's got the first time shot, long range curler, and some pace coming off the left flank could be alright. But I couldn't go so far as to say it's a good card. I think it's just one where you could get a better use out of him as an inverted winger coming off the left flank. Especially left midfield with the whole player playing style active. It won't be an active playing style as a wide forward though. But yeah, off the left flank, right footer, yeah, he could score some goals for you. Could be decent enough, but again, it's a 4-star card and it's not one I could say is particularly great, to be honest. And now we have our first booster of the pack. So we got Moise Kean, Kean, however you say it. We have a face scan, our first face scan of the pack. Let's go straight to the booster. So what does the booster give us? It gives us ball control, finishing, good, kicking power, nice, and more physical contact. Right, okay. So we got a bit of a mixed bag with this guy. Inconsistent form as well, it's not great. We've had a previous player of the week version of Moise Kean that was this one's a bit better, to be honest. And we've had a trainable one that was in one of those legend boxes, I think, or maybe a Showtime box. This is a bit better than that one. That one is trainable though. And there's one in the Juventus pack ages ago, but that wasn't so great. But yeah, this one, I mean, there's one thing standing out, and you probably noticed it yourself already. Attacking awareness 80. You've got supposedly a 5-star centre forward who scored a hat-trick in Serie A and a goal poacher, and they've given it 80 attacking awareness. That's absolutely shocking. Without that boost active, he's not a 5-star, he's a 4-star. So that 5-star rating is a little bit misleading. You know, if he's on C form, this is not a 5-star card, it's a 4-star card. But looking at him fully boosted, I mean, we'll compare him to his GP card. He's lost a bit of dexterity again. It's so annoying. I mean, how have they not given him more attacking awareness? Balance is poor as well. Boosting him a bit on the ball though. He's better on the ball than his GP card normally is with auto allocation. Finishing's had a bit of a boost as well. So yeah, you know, decent pace for a goal poacher. I'd like a bit more acceleration, but certainly the speed will get to 90 with you know, fully boosting the game plan. Kicking power on A when he's got the A form maximum boost, that's going to go past 90. That's great. I always say that is important with his shooting. Good physical strength. The balance, as I mentioned, is a bit poor. Stamina, not brilliant. But he is a bit better on the ball than he normally is, and that's decent, to be fair, for centre forward. A lot of goal poachers aren't as good as that on the ball. Finishing with the A form boost 86 is not too bad. I'd like it to be 87 at least, so you can at least get to the 90 mark fully boosted. When he's not got the A form boost, 83 is not great. It's really not great. So yeah, this is a card where you've got some qualities there, but on the whole, I'm just not sure. I think the most important ones on a centre forward, especially a goal poacher, the awareness and finishing, not brilliant. Yes, the A form boost will get to 86 for finishing, but even then, it could be a bit better, and the awareness still sucks at 80. Let's look at the skills, what they've done with the skills. We've lost scissors, feint, and no look pass. I think we can live without those. I didn't realise Kane had no look pass. They've added double touch, cut behind and turn. Long wench curl has a good one. Accurate finishing likewise. Fighting spirit, cool. So some decent skills there. We've got heading, we've got first time shot, and we've got long wench curler, long wench shooting, accurate finishing. So some good skills there. He's going to take chances for you, but with that being said, I can't look past that finishing. Yes, with the A-form boost, he gets to 86, but I don't know. It's another card where I'm just struggling to know what to make of it, but I can't see past the attacking awareness more than anything. It's terrible. You need that at least mid-80s in my opinion. But he's got qualities. He's decent on the ball for centre forward. Finishing, depending whether he gets the A-form boost, not too bad. If he's not on the A-form boost though, it does concern me. Pace is decent enough. Kicking power good. Good physical strength. He's got some qualities. If you like the qualities he's got, if he's got the kind of profile you look for on a centre forward, he could be a decent card. I think I had the previous player of the week of this guy, and it was all right. Kind of had a bit of pace and physical strength, but ultimately just wasn't quite good enough for me. I ended up releasing it. This one is a bit better. If I get it, I'll probably give it a try, but like I say, he does have strengths. If you like the strengths he's got, and if you play him to those strengths, he could be effective. He could certainly take chances for you, but for me personally, I can't see past the weaknesses. The finish guard, like a bit more on that, even with the A-form boost. And the attacking awareness for me is terrible. So there are some real weaknesses with this guy, but some people might get some use out of him. It just depends what you want. So for some people, it could be an effective card, but I think for a lot of people, it just falls a bit short for me. Matheus Cunha is next, and we have an attacking midfield creative playmaker version of Cunha. So he doesn't normally have attacking midfield. They've added that, and they very kindly added a semi-proficient position again to a player of the week card, which you can't position train. Excellent. But yeah, he's normally a deep line forward. They made him a creative playmaker this time. There was a previous player of the week that could play as an attacking midfielder. That was a whole player. It was slightly better than this one, to be honest. Not a massive difference though. There was also a player of the week, a whole player that was an SS that didn't have attacking midfield. It wasn't quite as good as this one. There's a version of Cunha in terms of trainable versions. There's one in I think it's some kind of national team pack. That was better as a centre forward. If you position trained it to play attack midfield, it wouldn't be quite as good as this one, but not miles off though. And there's one version of Cunha that was in either a legend box or a Showtime box. Again, better as a centre forward. If you position trained it for attack midfield, it could actually be a bit better than this one as well. Compared to his GP card, if you train his GP card to be attacking midfielder, you can make him comparable in some areas, but you can't make him as good in all areas. You can kind of make him as good on the ball, but with less end product, or we can give him the end product, then he won't be as good on the ball or won't have the pace. So, yeah, better than his GP card for attacking midfield. And to be honest, even as a centre forward, it's probably a bit better. It is a good version of Cunha, this. Before I forget, he's got his face scan, of course. I'm not sure that's the best face scan I've ever seen, but he's got one. On waving form as well. What have we done skill-wise? We've lost Sombrero, chip shot control, and penalty specialist. I don't think any of those are a particularly great loss. We've got what have we gained? We've gained one touch pass, outside curler, and track back. I think that's a decent trade on the whole. So if you use him as a forward, still got first time shot, long range shooting, long range curler. But with the passing now, as an attack midfielder, one touch pass alongside through passing is good, but how good is his passing? 82 low pass. I mean, we were chatting when I did a live stream on Monday about whether you really need points on passing. With the way passing is in the game these days, it's terrible. Even when you've got 90 plus passing, your passes often go completely to the wrong player. So is that enough passing for attack midfield? I mean, in generally speaking, if you forget how bad passing is in the game, I think I would say it's not high enough. I would like mid-80s at least on an attack midfielder. Some people might be okay with that. He's got one touch pass and through passing, but for me, it's a little bit low. On the ball, pretty tidy. The awareness and the finishing, pretty decent. Certainly as an attack midfielder on SS. He's got decent pace. It's pretty much exactly the same pace as Moise Kean, I think. Physical contact and balance, I mean, depends how you look at it. For an attacking player, I think the physical contact's okay. Balance is a bit on the low side. I think, honestly, I'd look at this guy mainly as an SS. I think his passing is a bit low for him to be an attack midfielder. As a centre forward, awareness 81, finishing 81, for me, not good enough. But as an SS or as a wide forward, I think it could be decent. He's got a decent amount of pace. He's pretty tidy on the ball. He's got that passing ability. For a wide man or an SS, I think that is decent. With 82 low pass and with a one touch pass and through passing. And in those areas, just outside of the attack, either central or out wide, I think the attacking awareness and finishing both being over 80 before the game plan boost, that's decent. And he's got the shooting skills as well as the passing skills. Long range curler as well. For a right foot, if you played him on the left hand side, long range curler coming inside, hitting those long range curlers, I think it could be decent. It doesn't look like an amazing card to me. But yeah, I had I think about two versions of Cunha. I had a player of the week one, and then I got one from I think it was the Danielson box, that legend box, and I think that's pretty much the best version we've had of Cunha, and I've still got that one. He's pretty nice. He's quite tall. He feels like he's not the most nimble, but he is technically pretty tidy. He's quite a decent card. I've not used him a huge amount. On the basis of that card, I would say this one looks like a decent one, not an amazing one, but a decent one. I think it's one where if you get it, you need to try him out and just see how you find him. But yeah, I think with the skills that he's got, with the strengths he's got, probably not suitable to for an attack midfielder unless you really don't mind that passing. If you think that low pass is high enough, he could be very decent there. Certainly don't see him as a centre forward, but behind the attack there as an SS or out wide, especially off the left flank, with a bit of pace, quite good on the ball, and with some end product both in terms of the skills and the attributes. I think as that type of a player, could be a decent one. You'd have to try him out. It might not be for everyone, but I think it could be a pretty solid card. So yeah, it doesn't look like a bad one to me. Not bad at all. And next up is João Pedro. So we have a deep lying forward, and this guy can play. He's down as a centre forward, but he can also play SS, attack midfield, or wide left. We've had a couple of trainable versions of João Pedro in the past. Both of them a little bit better than this, to be honest. I got the better one actually. I think that's from that 100 player pack, the contract renewal pack that I got it. I don't know which pack it was in originally, that card, but yeah, both those previous trainer ones slightly better, I think. They've not done anything with the positions or playing style. Compared to his GP card on auto allocation, we've lost a bit of acceleration, but we've gained a bit of physical contact, a bit better on the ball. Big boost to his low pass, that's very nice, especially on the deep lying forward. And yeah, on the whole, interesting card. I don't think I would see him as a centre forward. I think with the awareness and the finishing not being higher, I don't think I'd want to put him up front, but as an SS just behind the attack, possibly. I don't think the low pass is high enough for attacking midfield. If we look at the skills, has he got passing skills? He's got through passing, so they've added through passing. Which skills have we lost first off? We lost scissors feint. We've lost acrobatic finishing. That's a shame. We lost penalty specialist. So I think most of us can live without scissors paint and penalty specialist, but acrobatic finishing, that's a bit of a shame they're taking that away. We've gained soul control, nice. Long range curler, also nice. And through passing, as I mentioned, and super sub. So we've gained some good skills there. It's a shame acrobatic finishing is gone, but we do have some good skills. Would be nice if we had one-touch pass as well, but if we are going to use this guy behind the attack, through passing is obviously a very good one to have, especially with them boosting his low pass up to 80. But the shooting skills would certainly make him more viable as a centre forward. It's just a question of whether the awareness and finishing are high enough for you. Super sub's a good one. Obviously, he's got that because he came off the bench and he was brilliant against Man City, goal and an assist. So yeah, it's a question of where you use this guy. Wide left, I don't think he's quite quick enough really to play wide left. He's decent on the ball, not amazing, and the pace isn't that brilliant. So wide left, I'm not so sure. Like I say, centre forward, you could get away with it. He's a deep lying forward, so a deep lying forward, obviously he's going to be dropping deeper. He's not going to be as aggressive with his forward running. He's going to be more involved in the build-up. So are the awareness and finishing as important? No, they're not as important. They are still important though. So for me, a bit iffy, but with the low pass boosted up to 80, he's got through passing, reasonably tidy on the ball. He could be a decent centre forward. If you like a deep lying forward, if you like that playing style, if it works for you, yeah, could be a decent card to pick up. There's an SS, same playing style, deep lying forward is going to be active as an SS. Same deal really, but he's going to be more involved in the build-up and then becomes less important, the awareness and finishing. So as an SS, for me, he's probably better suited. The awareness is certainly very decent in that position. Finishing is as well. On the ball, fairly tidy. Low pass 80 still isn't overly high, but he's got through passing, so his passing should be alright. I think it could be an interesting one now. I think it just comes down to whether you like the playing style really. If you like that playing style, I think the overall profile you get from this guy is alright. It's not amazing. The balance is a bit low at 72. That's not great. But yeah, he's got a little bit of pace about him. He is fairly tidy on the ball. His passing should be alright, and the awareness and the finishing for an SS are pretty decent. Again, like with Cunha, I don't think his low pass is high enough to play attacking midfield. He'd be playing there without an active playing style. He could be decent there if you don't mind the passing. If you think 80 is enough on low pass, as an attacking midfielder without an active playing style, decent attacking awareness, he should be making a decent amount of forward runs from attacking midfield. Finishing is good in that position. He's got the shooting skills, he's got through passing. He could be one that could work for you as an attacking midfielder. Depends what you know, mainly on the low pass, whether that's high enough for you. But you've got an option there of playing him in that position. But for me personally, I think as an SS with that deep line forward playing style active, he has an interesting profile. I think for anyone who likes that playing style as an SS, and to an extent as a centre forward, this could be a decent card. Again, I wouldn't say it's an amazing one. It's not one I look at that looks particularly exciting to me, but I think it's just another one where if he's got the profile and the playing style that suit you, yeah, he could be a decent one. And he does have a face scan, but he's due a new one because he's had longer hair for quite a while now. So hopefully he'll get a new updated face scan soon. But yeah, if he suits you, could be a pretty decent card. He's not an amazing one, but he could work quite well for some people. And this card could work quite well for a lot of people. So we've got another Kang. We had a few Player of the Week Kangs before. We've got his usual playing style. This one, creative playmaker. I think the last one we had of Kang was a deep line forward. I wanted to quickly note before I forget, his weaker foot accuracy has gone up by 1. That's gone to high, so that's nice. But yeah, previous Player of the Week versions, we had a deep line forward one from PSG. This is a booster actually as well. Without the boost, that deep line forward one is pretty much better in all positions really. But if you boost this one, it's mainly on the ball there with low pass as well. With that booster active, that deep line forward version is better still as a centre forward. This one can't even play as a centre forward, but in other positions this one I would say becomes slightly better in all the other positions. So yeah, looking like a decent one. This one, looking at there's been 2 whole player attacking midfield versions in Player of the Week. There's one at PSG, pretty similar before you activate the boost on this, but if this one gets the A form boost, mixed bag really. Some higher, some lower attributes, but this one's slightly better on the whole. And then the Mallorca one, when he played for Mallorca, there was a whole player attacking midfield version of him in Player of the Week when he was at Mallorca. That one before this one gets the boost, that one's slightly better, but the boost makes this one slightly better than that one. So yeah, not a massive difference really with those two, but that boost does seem to be making this a very nice version of Kang. Looking at trainable versions of Kang, there's been a PSG one and a South Korea one. Not quite as good if you're playing wide right. To be honest, not as good central really, but they are trainable cards and they're not a million miles off. There's one version that I've got. My version of Kang is from, I think, some kind of Asian MVP back or Asian Rising Stars or something. You can train it out to make it pretty similar before this card gets the boost. But again, the boost makes this guy gets this card slightly ahead, makes it a little bit better, but it's not got great deal of speed though, and the fact you can make those trainable cards a bit quicker, you might prefer that. But this is a good version of Kang on the whole. If you compare it to his GP card, we've had a boost on awareness, we've had a boost on finishing, we've lost a bit of kicking power, annoyingly. Don't know why they'll do that, but yeah, fully boosted, he's had a decent boost across the board really. The speed and the end product really are where he's had where he's kind of been improved the most from his GP card. That's where you're going to see most of the difference. It's a nice version of Kang. This, I think, ultimately, again, you look at how good this card is and the different positions he's got. You can play him through the middle as a kind of number 10, or you can play him out wide, right or left. Does he have the speed to play out wide? In my opinion, no. If you don't mind a slight lack of speed on a winger, then looking at everything else he's got. Great on the ball when he's in A form, certainly. Low and off the pass are good. Attacking when some finishing, both going past 80 with the game plan boost. The acceleration is good. Reasonable balance. He's going to feel nice on the ball. I've always found this guy's nice on the ball. I like him. I like him on eFootball. I like him on PES as well. He looks like a pretty nice card. If you don't mind the lack of speed, could be a very neat one out wide. Certainly got some end product. Have they done anything to his skills? I'm not sure. I'm looking on the eFootball Hub now. Where is he? So, is there any change to his skills here? Double touch, Marseille, Scotch. First time shot. They've added first time shot. And that's about it, I think. It's first time shot. So, yeah. End product wise, first time shot, then one touch pass, through passing. We've got pinpoint crossing. So, we've got the passing, we've got the crossing. It would be nice if we had a long range curler or long range shooting, to be honest. But the finishing will go past 8 with the game plan boost, like I say. He's going to have very nice passing. He can cross it as well. If you don't mind that lack of pace on the left, that lofted pass going over 90 with the game plan boost, curl in the 80s, kicking power around 80 or so. I'd like it to be a bit higher. It's a shame they've nerfed that a bit. But yeah, on the left, if you don't mind the lack of pace, could be very effective whipping cross in with his left foot. On the right hand side, shame he doesn't have long range curler especially, but also long range shooting. So that does limit him a bit as a right winger, along with the lack of speed. So I think he's a bit lacking as a right winger, but certainly he's very, very comfortable on the ball. He's got very nice passing. So you could well find him useful on the right if you don't mind the one or two weaknesses. But I think through the middle is where this guy is going to be best. The pace isn't quite so important there. He still has good acceleration though. Balance is all right, but he's very nice on the ball, got very nice passing, and the awareness and finishing are decent. If you like a creative playmaker, attacking midfielder, or SS, I personally don't use attacking midfielders very often. I like to have an SS behind my striker, and I don't mind that creative playmaker playing style there. I don't like it out wide because a creative playmaker won't be as aggressive with their forward runs. I like my wingers to be making a lot of runs forward. So I'm not a fan of creative playmakers out wide, but through the middle, either an attack midfielder or an SS with that playing style, I think this is a very tidy card. Like I say, it depends on what you want from a Kang card. If you've got a version of Kang, you might have one where you don't really necessarily need this one, but this is one of the better versions of Kang that we've had. And yeah, like I say, one or two limitations if you play him out wide, but especially if you're playing through the middle, he's got a lot of qualities. He's going to feel pretty nice on the ball. He has his face scan there. He's got unwavering form. There's a lot to be said for this card. This, for me, is probably one of the nicer cards in this pack. I'll be pretty pleased if I get it. He's going to be a very interesting option for me as an SS because I like the previous versions I've used of him. I think he's a pretty tidy card on the whole. And next we have Cambiaso from Juve. So we have a left back attacking fullback. He can play right back as well. He's left footed though. He's reasonably two footed, but not fully two footed. So I'm not sure how comfortable he'd be as a right back. I think he's probably going to be, most people will probably prefer this guy on the left. He's got a face scan. Inconsistent form. That's a bit of a shame. That seems a bit harsh to me. But yeah, we've had looking at previous versions, we've had a couple of trainable versions of Cambiaso, and the deal with those is they've got more pace but not so much technical ability. They're trainable, and you can train them to kind of try and make them comparable to this one, and they're not a million miles off really. They've got less skills though. Let's go straight to the skills because they've given him long range shooting, nice bonus on the fullback, I guess, not too important, but also man marking, interception, fighting spirit, and blocker. So big upgrade on the skills in this guy. This is the most skills he's had any version of him. Long range shooting, through passing, and pinpoint crossing going forward. And defensively now we've got man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, and fighting spirit. So he's got a fantastic selection of skills for a fullback. That's great. So the question is, how good is he in terms of the attributes? So like I say, comparing to the 2 trainable versions we've had of him, he's lost a bunch of pace really compared to those, but he's got a lot more technicals. That's pretty much the deal compared to his GP card. Looking at his GP card on auto allocation, they've actually taken 8 away from his speed and 8 away from his kicking power as well. That's pretty brutal on the Player of the Week card, especially on a fullback. But they do that on fullbacks in Player of the Week. They always take a bit of speed away, it seems. But where have they boosted him? On the ball. Nice boost on the ball. Finishing's had a nice boost as well. So that's where most of the boost is. He's technically pretty nice. Obviously, the tight possession, low pass could be a bit higher. That's a little bit frustrating, but ball control and dribbling are great on a fullback. Lofted pass is good for a fullback. He's still not slow, even though they've taken a load off his speed. I think probably a lot of people would prefer a bit more pace on him. I personally would, but he's not overly slow. Stamina's still fine at 90. Defensive's though iffy. If you like your fullbacks to be very strong defensively, he's probably going to be not quite make the grade for you. If you like a very attacking fullback, you don't mind those defenses being a bit on the low side, then maybe that's okay. I'd say the physical contact's okay. The balance is a bit low though. He's got a great set of skills though, so there's some pros and some cons there. With his GP card, you could retrain his GP card and try and make him stronger in certain areas, because if this is 8 lower on speed, you can take a bunch of his lower body. But the problem is that if you take the points away from speed on his GP card to make him stronger also to try and match this one, you end up with really low stamina. So this is an upgrade on his GP card. It is better, clearly, and obviously with the skills as well. So yeah, compared to his GP card, big upgrade on the whole, massive upgrade with the skills. He's looking very nice technically there in most areas. It's just annoying they took a bunch of his speed. So yeah, looking at it in isolation, is it a good card? It's decent. It's not amazing. It's not one I'm overly excited to get. I think he's certainly usable as an attacking fullback, but lacking a bit in balance. Would like a bit more pace on there, especially given how much I've taken away from his speed compared to his GP card. I would like a bit more as defensives as well. I think they're a little bit on the weak side. So some qualities there, but some weaknesses as well. Inconsistent form. Yes, they've given him a whole bunch of skills, which makes him a big upgrade on other versions of him, in my opinion, but I'm not so sure. And even as a winger, would you use him as a winger or wing back? I don't think he's quite good enough technically to really make him a particularly good winger either. So yeah, I think it's just on these cards where it's kind of all right. If you like an attacking fullback and you want to focus on him getting forward and overlapping and contributing to the attack, he could be decent. It could be usable. Maybe one where it's worth keeping hold of him for the Italian League challenge, I guess. But if you want your forwards to be stronger defensively, probably not for you. And on the whole, as much as it's not a particularly bad card, it's not a particularly great one for me either. And now we have Upamecano. So this is an interesting one. So Upamecano, we've had a previous Player of the Week. That was in the Champions League Player of the Week pack. He used to be a build-up. That Player of the Week, Champions League Player of the Week one was a build-up. He's been made I don't know when it was exactly they made him a destroyer, but he is a destroyer these days. So previous versions of Upamecano, sometimes in some cases they're build-up, in some cases they're a destroyer. That Champions League build-up Player of the Week card, in comparison to this one, it's stronger in some areas, weaker in others. The big thing with this card is that they've kind of balanced them out a bit better than previous versions, because a lot of the time with Upamecano, you get relatively low defensive awareness, but the other defensive attributes are really strong. So when you max him out, he's kind of mid-80s awareness and then mid-90s the other ones. He's not always a great stamina. That Champions League one had, I think it's 72 stamina. I've got that card, and he does get tired. So you have to think about subbing him off after about 60, 70 minutes, which is a bit frustrating. Acceleration seems to be better than some previous versions as well. So yeah, I think this version of Upamecano, what you're looking at is really a version of Upamecano where he's not as good in some areas as other versions, but they've just balanced him out a bit. So there's no real major weaknesses that I see. I'm looking at jumping really. That's probably the one attribute I think is a bit on the low side really. But outside of that, he's a much more well-rounded compared to other versions of him. So if I look at his GP card on auto allocation, we've got 2 higher on awareness, and they've taken about 6 or 7 away from the other 3, which on the face of it is not great, but like I say, it's about how well-rounded this version is. I think the fact that they've taken 6 or 7 or 3 of his defensive attributes, on the face of it, you'd think that's terrible, but I think the way they've rounded him out isn't too bad, because they've boosted his speed and acceleration and his stamina. He's got good stamina now. But again, though, they've taken points away from some of the physicals, so jumping is down by 6, heading is down by 4. He's lost a couple of his physical contact as well, but I think you can allow that. He's at least still going to get to 90 if you get the maximum game plan boost. Inconsistent form still, that probably is fair. Skill-wise, all they've done, they've taken away weighted pass, they've added one touch pass, so not going to make a massive difference really, but he's got pretty much a complete set of defensive skills. You've got heading and aerial superiority, and you've got man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. So yeah, I think that's a pretty complete selection of skills there. He's got a great selection of skills. You had quite a few verses with Upamecano, loads of trainable ones. Quite a few of them have a slightly higher rated than this one, but it's the balancing of the attributes. I think that's the thing. If you don't mind the awareness being a bit low on previous cards, and you're more concerned with the fact he's got fantastic, tackling, aggression, engagement on those cards, then those previous cards might be better for you. But it's just the way they've rounded this one out for me. There's no glaring weakness. The one attribute on this card, if you look at it in isolation, that I'm concerned with is jumping. He's about 6'1", which is pretty average height for a centre back. He's not overly tall. He does have aerial superiority, but only 84 for jumping. He's not going to be dominant in the air. He won't be bad in the air, but he won't be particularly amazing in the air either. But pace for a centre back, good. Stamina, good. The physical contact, yes, they've nerfed it a bit compared to his GP card. It's been higher in the past than other versions of him. I think that Champions League one, I think it's up to like 96 or 97 or something. So could be higher, but still gets the 90 fully boosted. Defensives there, I mean, all but one of them are going to hit the 90 mark in the game plan. It's only awareness that won't, and that should get up to about 88, 89. On the ball, pretty average for centre back. Low pass will go past 70. He's got one touch pass as well. So there is a lot to be said for this card. I think it's just, like I say, it comes down to whether you compare him to previous cards and say that, well, previous versions of him are slightly higher rated and some of the attributes are a lot higher, or whether you look at the fact that they've rounded him out a bit and some of the weaknesses aren't so weak anymore. He's a bit better athletically, if you don't mind the slight nerfing of his physicals in terms of his strength, especially aerially. And yes, you might say these defenses are lower than they could be, and they're a lot higher on some previous versions of him, but the awareness is pushing towards 90. It's probably in terms of all the previous versions of Upamecano, that's probably one of the highest ratings for a defensive awareness that he's had, really. So yeah, in terms of the overall rating, not the best version of Upamecano we've had, but it is a bit different. He's a bit more well-rounded. Yeah, he's not quite as good in the air, and some of the attributes aren't quite so great, but he's got some strengths in areas where he's not always had it previously. So inconsistent form, they've nerfed a few attributes. Plenty of reasons why a lot of people might not be so keen. You might prefer a build-up version to a destroyer, but there's a lot to be said for him as well. It's a much more balanced version of Upamecano than most previous versions, so I think quite a lot of people won't be so keen on this card, but I think for a lot of people as well, it could be a pretty decent version of Upamecano to pick up. And looking at it in isolation, I think it's a pretty good, solid destroyer. So yeah, for some people not so great, but I think it's a solid card on the whole. And now we have Booster Vinícius Júnior. So this is one of the cards I think most people are going to be interested in this pack. I'm just going straight to that boost. What does the boost give us? Okay, so what's that? Athleticism, pace, running, what's it called? Agility, there we go. So we get the speed, acceleration, balance, and stamina. Nice, okay. Unwavering form, of course. Vinícius Júnior, these can play centre forward. So before we start comparing to previous versions, a lot of previous versions do not have centre forward. Trainable ones you can position train, of course, but this does have centre forward. They've changed his playing style. Normally a roaming flank. This time he's a prolific winger. That playing style will be active as a left wing forward. It will not be active centre forward or left midfield. They've put his weaker foot usage up slightly. Interesting. Not going to make a massive difference really. It might not be a good thing, to be honest, because his weaker foot is not actually that strong. But yeah, they have increased that. What else have we got here? So let's look at the previous versions. We've had a lot of versions of Vinny. We've had a previous version of Vinny that was a booster in Player of the Week. That was a goal poacher. It was better as a centre forward. On the whole, pretty similar as a winger, but that one had more awareness and finishing because it was obviously trained as built as a centre forward, whereas this one has a bit more pace, certainly on A form. There was a previous Player of the Week card that was a prolific winger, same playing style as this one. Pretty similar before the boost, but I think the boost makes this one slightly better. There was a Champions League goal poacher Player of the Week. Again, pretty similar as a kind of wide forward, but better centre forward. And to be honest, the boost actually makes this one better as a winger. So yeah, the goal poachers really you're looking at better as goal poachers, but this one probably better as a winger, fully boosted. But a couple of showtimes are obviously better than this one. In terms of trainable versions, pre-boost, they tend to be a bit better on the ball and have a little bit more pace than this one, the better trainable versions of Vinny. But this one's got more end product. The one big boost he's had is to his lofted pass. So comparing to his GP card, bit less pace in his GP card, not quite as good on the ball. Low passes up a bit, finishing's up a bit, physical contact's up a bit, balance is up a little bit. Wow, that's unusual. Player of the week cards, they normally put the balance down on attacking players. Lofted pass, the biggest boost. And yeah, I think that's the deal compared to previous trainable versions. You know, previous trainable versions on auto allocation tend to be a bit quicker, a bit better on the ball, don't have quite as much end product, but you can train those cards, obviously. And like I mentioned a moment ago, most of the previous versions of Vinny don't have centre forward. The point store one, I think a lot of us have got the version of Vinny that they put in the point store. Pretty much the same deal, really. But when you get the boost, on this card, it is a bit better than that one, I think, on the whole. But if you got the one from the point store and you don't get this one, I think you could be happy enough. So yeah, it's a good version of Vinny. It's not an amazing one. It's not a version of Vinny that you must have. If you've got a decent version of him already, I think you could be happy enough. But he's a prolific winger this time, and yeah, it's a good version of him. I don't think I'd play him as a centre forward. He's got it. I've mentioned he's got centre forward, whereas other previous versions don't. I think the thing with previous versions, the trainable ones, is that if you position train them and you kind of train the attributes to make him a centre forward, it'd probably be better as a centre forward than this one, really, because the awareness at 84, finishing 84, is not amazing. You could get away with it for sure, and he's got plenty of qualities that could kind of make up for those attributes to a great extent, with the pace on the ball. You know, for a centre forward, fantastic. So he's certainly usable as a centre forward, but I think that getting the most out of this guy, it's going to be on the left of a front three, using that prolific winger playing style, left wing forward, especially on A form, the pace, great dribbling there, bit of end product. I don't think many people will be too bothered about the lofted pass being 80. He's not got pinpoint crossing. Skill wise, they've added long range curler, actually. I just noticed that. Now that is a pretty significant addition. They've added no look pass as well. Great. Don't think that's too important. What have we lost? So again, we've lost acrobatic finishing. That's a shame. We've lost sombrero. I think we can live without that. But taking acrobatic finishing is a bit of a shame. But long range curler, I think that's a really nice addition. So you got a bunch of skill moves there. You got your ball roll, double touch, of course. The dribblers will love this guy. Rising shot, heel trick's nice. So is outside curler, through passing. So yeah, through passing, long range curler. In terms of end product, he's got two good skills there. Adding long range curler is massive. Coming off the left flank, finishing 84, curl 80, kicking power 81. He's going to have a very nice curl finish. It's not the best version of him. Like I say, we've had a couple of show times, and there might be one or two trainable ones, which in terms of the numbers overall might be slightly better, but it's a good version of him. And I think, like a lot of the better cards that you get in Player of the Week these days, it's a case of what version have you already got of him, you know, because if you've already got a good version like the one in the point store, I don't think it's worth rushing to spend your coins on this one, to be honest, but it is a good version. It does have long range curler. Prolific winger might be a preferable playing style for you over roaming flank, which he normally has. I prefer roaming flank personally, but if you like prolific winger, the fact he's got long range curler is a good version of him as a booster. Yeah, a lot of people probably don't need him if you've got a good version, but if you don't have a better version of him, it is a really great card in isolation. It could be better, you know, they could have made maybe the ball control and tight possession a bit better, low pass if you're going to be really harsh, but he's got plenty of qualities. It's a good version of him, and unsurprisingly, it's a really good card on the whole. And we finish up with yet another Bruno Fernandes. How many versions of this guy have we had? Does anyone not have a version of this guy at this point? He's a whole player. That's his regular playing style. Let's compare him briefly to his previous Player of the Week card. So there have been a few different playing styles. There was a deep lying forward Player of the Week card, and there was also an orchestrator Player of the Week card. Those two cards are really, really good. Better than this one. So if you've got either of those ones, you don't need this one. You might really want a whole player version, but if you don't mind the playing style, the deep line forward and orchestrated versions of Bruno from Player of the Week are better than this one. There was a World Cup Player of the Week. I think it was down as a right winger, but better than this one slightly, I think. There's been a couple that are quite similar on the whole. Creative Playmaker and a box-to-box, both in regular Player of the Week packs, and they're pretty similar to this one, to be honest. Not a lot of difference. We've obviously had loads of trainable versions of Bruno. I don't know how many we've had, though. We must have had dozens at this point. And the good ones are pretty similar to this one, to be honest. This is pretty much par for the course for a Bruno card. I think we probably had 1 or 2 showtimes and that go a bit higher. Maybe I'm sure we've had 1 or 2 slightly better versions, maybe a legend one. But in terms of the regular kind of trainable versions of Bruno, this is the kind of level that he tends to be at. It's a decent version of Bruno, but looking at what they've changed about him, obviously the playing style's not changed, but in terms of the attributes compared to his GP card and auto allocation, bit of a boost to his pace, to his kicking power. It's nice because they quite often reduce the kicking power. Finishing's gone up a little bit. Low passes up a bit. Lofted passes down a bit. Interestingly, they've added 5 to his jumping, 10 to his physical contact, 20 to his heading. So it's one of the better versions of Bruno Fernandes in the air, if that's of any relevance to you. They've taken 5 off his dribbling, so his dribbling's been nerfed a bit. And they've taken 1 off his ball control, 1 off his tight possession. So yeah, 1 plus or minus 1's not make a great deal of difference on ball control, tight possession, but taking a bunch off his dribbling is very annoying on attacking midfielder. I don't know why they've done that. They do a lot of strange things, and that's one of them. So yeah, he's still tidy on the ball, but the nerf to his dribbling is just annoying. Great attacking awareness for a whole player attacking midfielder, or if you use him as a mega offensive centre midfielder with that whole player playing style active. Attacking awareness is fantastic there. Finishing will hit the 80 mark with the game plan boost. Obviously, he's got good passing. That low pass has been bumped up a little bit, so that's going to reach 90 with the game plan boost. That's very nice. He's obviously got one-touch pass and through passing. What have they changed skill-wise? We've lost Marseille turn, penalty specialist, and gamesmanship. How can you take gamesmanship away from Bruno Fernandes? But they've added long-range curler. So again, long-range curler, very nice addition. Dipping shot, if you like that kind of thing, they've added that. And then first time shot. So we've got a decent selection of skills here. So in terms of end product, he's clearly got the shooting ability and he's got the passing. He's got pinpoint crossing as well if he ever drifts out wide. Heel trick's a nice one, as his outside curler. He's got captaincy as well. So yeah, is it the best version of Bruno? No, definitely not. I think certainly the 2 previous Player of the Weeks with the different playing styles, deep line forward and orchestrator, those are really, really good cards, and they're better than this one, without a doubt. There's been a bunch of other ones as good, maybe slightly better. So yeah, in terms of overall rating, the overall ability of this guy, not the best version we've had. It is a good one, but losing a bit of dribbling is very annoying. Yes, the passing is quite good. It's better than some previous versions of him, but on the whole, I think it's just one where if for some absurd reason you don't already have a good version of Bruno Fernandes, and that basically means you've just downloaded the game in the past week, it'll be a good card for you to have. And it's certainly pretty good on the whole compared to previous versions of Bruno, but it just depends on how you feel about what they've done with the dribbling and I mean the balance is a bit low as well. It's never that high with Bruno, but yeah, I think it's just a good attacking midfielder. It's not an amazing one. It's not one that, even if I was a Man U fan, I don't think I'll be throwing coins at him, but it is a good card. He does have a lot of qualities, the awareness, he's got a shooting ability with the skills he's got. First time shot is a good addition to his skills, and long range curler as well. So there's plenty to be said for him, but I think for most of us at this point, if you like Bruno Fernandes in the game, you've probably got a better version by now. But there's a fair chance you don't. If you don't, he is a good card. I think just the main complaint for me would be the dribbling being reduced a bit. I know he's not a dribbler by any means, but it still makes a difference. So yeah, one or two things where you might not be too pleased about it, but there's plenty to be said for it, and it's just a solid version of Bruno. It's just, I think, mainly for the fact there's been so many versions of him already, it's just not that exciting. But for sure, it is a pretty good card on the whole. So there is your Player of the Week selection, your regular one at least. I will be reviewing the Champions League one, as I mentioned later. I think this is pretty much par for the course for a Player of the Week pack these days. It's just not that exciting, but there are some decent ones in there. For me, I think Cunha looks decent. I think Pedro, for some people, could be a decent card. Kang looks like a pretty good card. Upamecano, I think he's going to divide opinion. A lot of people will say that the attributes that aren't as strong as they are on previous versions make it disappointing, but for other people, I think the fact he's a bit more well-rounded, a bit more balanced, it might be quite appealing. Vinny, a lot of people got a better version, but that's a good version of Vinny. And then Bruno, if for some crazy reason you don't have a good version of Bruno already and you want one, that could be a good card, but I don't think there's anything special about it. It's just a good solid card, and then the rest of the cards, yeah, not really exciting me, to be honest. So yeah, a few good ones in there that you might pick up, but on the whole, like I say, it's pretty much par for the course for Player of the Week these days. It's just not really that exciting a pack, but I'll do my free spin as always. Who do I want? Kang. That's about it, really. I wouldn't be too bothered if I got maybe that Vinny card looks alright, maybe even Cunha, but I've got a better version, to be honest. So yeah, Kang's the target for me. No one else I'm particularly excited about. Let's see who I get. I get terrible luck with these player of the week spins, to be honest. Fully expecting I'll get one of the 4 stars. And if you watch my stream on Monday, you'll know that my pack luck in general is pretty terrible. Who have we got? We've got Harder. What did I tell you? Got one of the 4 stars. Hooray! So I got a bit of GP. Thanks, Konami, as usual. So there you go. Pretty much par for the course with player of the week. A few decent ones in there, but nothing overly exciting for me. So hopefully you found that useful. Let me know what you think of the pack. Let me know who you've got from your free spin. And again, I will be reviewing the Champions League player of the week pack. I'm gonna get cracking on that pretty much straight away. So hopefully that'll be live in a few hours time. So keep your eyes out for that. Thank you for watching as always. I hope you found this useful. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.